Hey guys, it's Chandler, and welcome to the Healing Heroes.
I promise you.
I'm Chandler Stroud, an executive, wife, and busy mom of two, who after years of living with anxiety, health struggles, and an unshakable feeling like I should be happier, made a profound discovery that changed everything. Join me on a journey where unexpected paths lead to healing and more happiness. On this show, we'll explore unconventional ways to unlock more joy in your own life with the help of my very own healers and trusted advisors, the Healing Heroes. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Healing Heroes podcast. I'm your host Chandler, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. We are back with hero and mindset coach Katie Wee, who is freshly off her 4-month maternity leave, and I cannot wait to catch up with her and hear how she's doing after this special time at home and away with her daughter Elle. For today's discussion, we're going to be talking about the power of identity shifts and how changing the way we see ourselves might be the unlock you need to find healing and more joy in the everyday. One of the most important lessons I've learned from Katie along the way is that healing often is not about doing more. It's about seeing ourselves differently, because the way we identify, interpret, and narrate our lives has such a profound impact on how we feel and how we are able to heal. Before we dive into this topic with Katie, I'd love to introduce Hero Katie Wee for any new listeners joining us today for the first time. Katie is a mindset coach, speaker, writer, actress, survivor, and the founder of Happy Camp. You may have seen Katie on TV shows such as Modern Family, Hawaii Five-0, New Girl, or General Hospital, or have read her writing in Newsweek or the Huffington Post. At Happy Camp, she teaches others how to love themselves on the deepest level and to use manifestation to create what they want in their lives, all while blissing out in paradise. I have been, it's amazing. I can't recommend this program and retreat highly enough. And she's got another one coming up, guys. So join her website and stay tuned for more on that. Katie, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. How does it feel to be back in this seat?
Oh, it feels so good. It's so good to be back with you. I really value, I'm sure all mothers out there can relate, my time that's just for me now. Like when it's just me, so maybe like an hour a day, cumulative, usually not all at once, where you're like, there's no one in my hands. Like I have no responsibility. And I'm like either getting in the bath or I'm journaling or I'm working out. But to get to be here with you and to share and to, every time I share, I feel like I'm processing too. I'm learning. I'm able to understand what's really going on with me on a deeper level as well. And to share with any other woman out there who relates to where I'm at or remembers this phase, and to be able to talk about identity shifts, because my gosh, I've been going through a big one. And like you said in your intro, identity is everything. How we view ourselves creates our future. And that's what I've learned so much with manifestation, that it's not about like the checklist. It's not about doing all the things, quote unquote, right. It's about how you see yourself, what you see in yourself, and what you see in yourself becomes manifest. So as I change roles from maiden to mother, I am noticing so much coming up, and I've been loving the journey, and my brain just feels like so alive because I'm noticing all the changes within myself, which is always very exciting for me.
Oh, that's so great, Katie. And honestly is a testament to your healing too, because I can tell you that was a very tough time in my own motherhood journey. And I just remember feeling so overwhelmed and distraught about it. I didn't have the kind of self-awareness that you have taught me to cultivate throughout the work that we've done together, that I think it's really cool that you can see what's coming up and be aware of how you're feeling and change those stories as they arise, which I know we're going to get into, but I think it's really special that you have been able to do so much healing in your life prior to Elle's arrival.
Thank you. And I really believe in divine timing. I have said on this podcast many times before, I'm like a recovering control freak, recovering type A achiever. Have always enjoyed trying to kind of like create my life really specifically. And what I've learned about the journey is that things happen when you're ready. And that doesn't mean like, okay, now that I've built the perfect home or become the perfect version of myself, I have a daughter. It means that there's lessons you needed to learn to be ready for the lessons you're going to learn. And that life is a constant moving through lessons, and we're never done. There's no graduation. We'll be learning lessons until the day we die. And it's like a school, thinking of Earth like a school. There were a lot of lessons I realize now that I needed to learn before becoming a mother that are helping me in motherhood. And had I had kids on my original timeline, like when I was younger, if you would have asked me when I was 22 what I wanted, I would have told you I want to be married with 2 kids by the time I'm 30. But in my life, I was getting divorced when I was 30, had no kids, and then felt very behind, like rushing to try to get remarried, to try to find the perfect person. That didn't work out so well. Finally surrendered, let go, learned about manifestation, learned how to change my identity and my vibe and my energy and my mindset rather than try to control the factors in my life. And when I did that, when I really poured into myself and focused on myself, then I met my soulmate, my husband. Then I created my business. Then we got married. Then we had Elle, and that beautiful unfolding wouldn't have happened unless I'd been willing to sort of surrender a little bit to say, okay, maybe I don't know all the right next steps. The universe will educate me and give me those next steps. And some of those lessons I learned, gosh, especially between divorce and motherhood the last 5 years, I'm so grateful that I learned them without a little one here, learn them on my own time so that I can really be more fully present with her. And I'm grateful that things didn't work out perfectly on my 22-year-old timeline because she didn't know that much.
I mean, I feel that deeply. My 22-year-old self did not know that much either. But, you know, like you said, it happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I trust in that divine timing now so much more. I feel like I'm relaxing into life and kind of going like, okay, whatever you got in store for me, universe, God, I'm ready for it. I really appreciate everything you've given me already. I'm not going to freak out if there's redirections. I'm just going to roll with it as much as I can and let that control freak part of me be like, can we just relax a little bit and let the more vibey, flowy, trusting part of myself take the lead and really be the mother here?
Well, the gratitude and trust is emanating from you right now. And I love seeing that. And I'm so excited for what you've had the opportunity to do in terms of quality time with Elle and like what's in store in the future. I mean, this is just the beginning and it's just really exciting to think about. You did talk about mindset in your answer, of course, since you are a mindset coach. But for our new listeners who are joining us today, and I know I've asked you this question 100 times before, can you just briefly explain what you do, what mindset coaching is, and why women seek your help when they're often at a crossroads?
Yeah. Every time I describe what mindset coaching is, I like to change it a little bit because it's so broad and just kind of going with what feels most alive for me right now. Mindset coaching is becoming aware of the way that you think and learning to utilize the way that you think for your own highest benefit. Most of us are not taught how to think. We're just sort of like thrust out into the world, and we each have our own sort of way of processing and creating reality because we have our own past. But if you're not aware of the way that you think, your past programming, the belief systems that you've been raised with, that you've internalized from other people, from society, those belief systems will sort of create the life in front of you. They'll create your future. And that makes you not an active participant in the creation of your future the way that you want to be. It makes you sort of like operating on autopilot. And if there's anything I don't like, it's autopilot. I'm like, no. I want to be in the driver's seat. I want to consciously create this life. I want it to be full of the things I want, the people I want, the energy I want. And mindset coaching gives you the reins to your future. It gives you the opportunity to think consciously in a certain way to create certain outcomes so that your creation is no longer just a memory of the past. You're no longer just recycling your old programming into the future, but you're instead choosing the life you want to create and thinking in a way that will help you create that because our thoughts create our reality. And so often we don't know that, and we don't think it matters how we think or how we view ourselves or what our perspective is. But when you get the chance to really unpack your own way of thinking with a coach, you can then go, oh, maybe this part isn't for me anymore. Maybe this kind of thinking is. And changing your thinking will completely change your life. I've seen that in my life. You've seen that in yours, Chandler. Gosh, it's been so beautiful to witness in your life, and for all of my clients and for everyone who comes to Happy Camp. It just gives you the power back in your life. So that's what mindset coaching is in a big nutshell.
And I think easy to understand why women would want that kind of counseling and support when you're really going to the depths of how you understand yourself and shifting not just the story you tell yourself or the stories, but you're, like we're talking about today, how you view your role in the world, that identity and what it means to you and what it means to all of those around you who you've been supporting.
Yes.
So I think, when women are at a crossroads, either with a big decision or with interpersonal matters, I certainly can attest. I reached out to you when I felt like I was making so much progress in my healing with some of my healers, whether it be Jen and therapy or Karen and myofascial release. And I realized there was this untapped world of mindset. And what is the mindset I bring, not just to my healing journey, but to my day-to-day, to my relationships, to my mothering, to my community engagement. And you really opened the door and shined a light on how important that work can be for me. And I'm so grateful. I've never looked back.
I love that. I'm so grateful for you too. And the reasons why people will reach out to me are because they want to create a change in their life. And I think a lot of us are not really sure how to navigate the future, whether it's like we just sit and receive and kind of like whatever God wants or whatever the universe wants, I'll receive it and that's okay. Or is it like I'm in control and I can make what I want happen? It's really a co-creation with the universe. We are constantly co-creating our life with the divine. We are the divine. We are that spark of the universe. We are that light of God. And when we take that co-creative responsibility, we really step into what I believe the creator wants for us. I don't think we're meant to just sit and receive and be like, thank you. And okay, I'll deal with this. We're meant to go, this is what I want. And this is how I'm going to line up with it. It's not so much about all the right action items, doing more. It's about being the version of you who already is receiving those outcomes. And that's been really interesting for me as a mother, because I started to realize when I got pregnant, oh my gosh, in 9 months, I'm going to be a role model for somebody. I'm going to be, whether I'm aware of it or not, and whether I'm intentional with it or not, rubbing off on someone 24/7. She's going to pick up on my vibes, on my energy, on my belief systems, on my behavior, on the way I treat myself, on the way I treat other people. She's going to download my operating system. And it got to be this point of intentionality for me of like, okay, who do I want to be? What kind of mother do I want to be? Once I'm a role model for somebody 24/7, not just when I'm in a session or leading a happy camp, but if I'm a role model for somebody 24/7, who do I want to be? And it really helped me kind of ask some of those deeper questions. And I realized I want to be someone who knows her worth. I don't want to be somebody who's struggling for approval. I don't want my daughter to think that approval's out there, that validation comes from other people, that my value as a person, as a woman, comes from achievements or accomplishments. I want to be the type of woman who is so embodied in her truth that I'm valuable no matter what. I'm valuable if I'm 135 pounds or I'm 175 pounds. I'm valuable if I'm working. I'm valuable if I'm not. I'm valuable if I'm doing a great job as a mother and just crushing it, or I'm spilling a milk bottle all over both of us in the middle of the night and then sleeping through that somehow. Like, it's all okay. I want to be someone who embodies radical self-love and radical self-acceptance 24/7. So it helped me in pregnancy become much more mindful of how I was showing up with myself. Like, am I blaming myself for things that I don't need to be so hard on myself for? Am I holding myself to this crazy standard of like, if I check all these things off my list today, I've done a good job. Would I want my daughter to see me like that? Or am I going to go, hey, I'm cool with myself all the time. I love myself all the time. I'm trusting myself and the universe. I'm trusting life. I'm not living in fear. I'm not white knuckling life. I'm accepting. I'm allowing. Pregnancy was really an opportunity for me to become a more relaxed version of myself. I realized through my own healing journey that I've lived so much of my life in survival mode. And not because I literally needed to survive. I've had a really lush existence. I've had a lot of things go really well, but because trauma often puts the body into hypervigilance and survival mode, I caught myself recreating it over and over again. I would manufacture circumstances where I was so tight on money when I didn't need to be. Like overspending, underworking, saying no to opportunities that could have provided good financial cushions for me, saying yes to the things that kept me sort of scarce, enjoying that kind of stress, feeling like I was always in survival mode, not sleeping enough, working out too much, working too much, overcommitting, undernourishing, undersleeping, just keeping myself in this kind of place of feeling fraught and like, I gotta keep up with my life, just gotta keep going, just like one toothbrush to the next, like, can I just make it through these next 4 hours? And slept 4 hours last night, but can I teach 4 workout classes today? And I realized so many different times in my life, like, gosh, you don't need to be living like this, but I keep it going because it's habitual and it's comfortable. And pregnancy was sort of like a hard line in the sand of like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm somebody else's environment. I'm somebody else's home right now. I'm going to be relaxed. I am going to put on some relaxing music and close my eyes, take a little nap if I feel like it. I'm going to journal. I'm going to garden. I'm going to do the things that just truly put me at ease. I'm not going to feel guilty about that. I'm going to get away from this productivity mindset of like, my value is based on my productivity, because that's not good for my nervous system, which is not good for the baby incubating inside of me. And it's honestly just not the place I want to live from. When I have a little girl, you know, here, and like today, she kind of pushed up on her elbows a little bit for the first time. She's been doing tummy time. And as she pushed up, it like looked at me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad I'm here for this. I'm so glad that I would rather be here than to have the time to curl my hair. Like, yeah, this matters more. I want to be the type of person who can be in the moment rather than being in the future all the time. So pregnancy helped me cultivate that. And that mindset I'm so grateful for, because as a mom, gosh, I don't want to miss anything. And I feel like I'm able to be so much more present now that I'm not trying to constantly hustle for my self-worth or my validation. And I've just become more committed to that transition.
I think you answered this in your beautiful explanation of what pregnancy offered you in terms of that awareness of the kind of mom you wanted to be and the kind of energy you wanted to cultivate. But if there's anything else you want to add, I'm just curious, why do you believe that identity is such a powerful lever for change, sometimes even more than our habits or goals?
My own life experience. So what I've learned about in my own life, and then what I learned about when I started studying manifestation and teaching it, is that we become the version of ourselves who's ready for a certain outcome, and then the outcome arrives. So often we're like, well, once I have that much money, once I make that much money, then I'm going to feel safe. But you have to actually start feeling safe and abundant to attract that money. Or we go, once I'm a mom, then I'll be happy. But until then, I'm not happy. It's like, no, you have to be happy in your life now. And that will help you get pregnant. It seems crazy to think like you have to become it before you actually receive it, but that's the way manifestation works. And I think that that's because God, the universe, the divine, whatever term works best for you, knows that you are all of those things. You are everything. You have every quality of the divine inside of you. It's just that some you've paid more attention to than others. Some you've watered a lot. Like I watered my hypervigilance, my achievement-oriented brain, my insecurity, all those parts of myself I watered many times in my life. I didn't always water my feeling of I already have what I need. I already am enough. I already am abundant. I already am loved. When you start to live from the end, meaning embody the state of the wish fulfilled. So the wish fulfilled, in this case, was motherhood. And motherhood came with a couple other things for me. I wanted, when I was manifesting this stage, really started manifesting this before I even met my husband, started to see this vision of my life. And it was like, oh, In this vision, I am married to someone who just loves me and sees me so fully and supports me and appreciates me in every way and makes me feel just so loved and like so snuggly. And we have kids, and I feel like I am just this like earth mother. Like I am this yeah, like I am this like embodiment of my most divine self. I'm a great role model for my daughter. And I feel in my life settled and joyful and present, and like time has slowed down and I've slowed down with it. And I envisioned this kind of existence for myself. And then piece by piece, it started to magnetize to me. And now we also, while I was pregnant, moved to my favorite place in the world, Lake Tahoe. I'm looking out my window at the snow. It's like, I love living here. I'm so happy here. I have that in my relationship. I feel so loved, so adored, so seen. And then I'm feeling like this version of who I wanted to be as a mother, like this most divine manifestation of me, the one who has embodied the lessons she's learned, not just knows them in her head, but knows them in her body, who can be a role model effortlessly without having to teach anything, just in my being. The reason identity is so important is because that's the precursor for having what we want. We become it, then we receive it. So if you have this vision for yourself, if you're listening, and it's different than where you are right now, maybe it's a different career, maybe it's a different relationship, maybe it's feeling freer within yourself, maybe it's being the version of you that you felt most like in college or in high school. It's coming back to authenticity, to your core. You have to visualize it, really visualize it, see it. What do you wear? How do you talk? How do you enter a room? What do you think about? How do you feel, most importantly? How do you feel? How does that version of you feel? And how is that different from how you feel right now? And what I felt with motherhood was, gosh, the version of me when I was imagining this life, she loves herself and she knows she's enough and she's just present in time. She's not rushing. And she just is enough for herself. And it was work to get here. It took a few years to get to this place. And I'm not done, and I'll never be done. But when enough of you when enough of your energy is in this state, is in the state of the future version of you, you attract the results that you're looking for. You attract the husband, for me, the business, the pregnancy, the move. All of this manifested because I became this version of me first. So identity, who you believe yourself to be, is a huge determinant of what you will receive. And so often we're trying to create new results with the same identity. And we're like, I'll just work really hard. I'll just, take all the meetings I'm supposed to take. I'll look up on ChatGPT what are the steps one should take to achieve this result, and I'll do it all. But we haven't changed our energy. We haven't shifted how we feel about ourselves. And doing that inner work to actually shift into the identity of the version of you who already has all of that, that's the work that will actually bring you to the result that you want.
And how do women who are listening to you and thinking, yes, I want that, like how do you do that inner work, Katie? And you can answer this from the perspective of how you coach clients. How do you get them to pull those stories they're telling themselves, pull those identities that they currently are existing in to the surface so they become more aware of them and can start changing them?
Mm-hmm. Well, step one, come to Happy Camp. If you can, come to Happy Camp. Yes. Because I will walk you through my signature process over a period of a few days. And my gosh, having that kind of intensity of doing this work and that kind of container that really solidifies the change so beautifully. But if you're at home listening and you want to start right now, I would first look at your fears. Why do you think you don't have what you want yet? It's a hard question to ask ourselves, right? But so often we're going, I really want to be seen as a leader. I want a management role. I want to be in that higher position. I want to have more power. I want to have more influence. And if you ask yourself, why don't you think you have that yet? Your deepest fears will come out. Journal about it. Or just talk to yourself out loud in your car. Why don't you think you have that right now? And you might say, because I don't really have anything original to say. That's your fear. This is not necessarily the truth. What your brain tells you is not necessarily the truth, but your fears are what blocks you from that future version of you. So if that's you and you're really wanting power and you're really wanting a promotion and you're really wanting more visibility, but you're not getting it, and you ask yourself, why is that not happening? Some of us might eventually offload that to somebody else. Well, because my management's poor, because the people above me don't know what they're doing. And often that leaves us in this place of going, okay, I don't have to change anything. And the victim mindset can continue, right? Because it's somebody else's fault. It's something else's fault. Well, it's because I had a kid and I got pushed back on the career track and I would be where I wanted to be if I didn't have a kid. Well, take it away from everybody else and just ask yourself, if it were just me, if it were about me, what is it about me that's not helping me get to that next level? And you might say, oh, because maybe I don't have anything original to say. Maybe I don't really have what it takes to have that leadership potential. And I'd question you, I'd ask you to go dig deeper. Why don't you think you have anything valuable to say? Well, I think I'm just not that smart. And then you might look at that and go, wait a second, interesting. I want you to hold that belief hostage. When you get down to a really core, really honest belief that feels like embarrassing, hard, vulnerable to get to, whether it's I'm just not that smart, or I just don't have what it takes, or I'm just not really worthy of that, question that. And to really look at that and say, is it true? Is that true? And maybe it feels true to you, but is it true objectively? Would it hold up in court? Is it true to everyone around you? Is that a fact? Is that a law? Is that definitely true? And to question that, and hopefully you get to the place of going, okay, maybe it's not completely true. And then you ask yourself, well, what behavior manifests when I'm really believing that? We're really looking here at what we call a limiting belief. And you may go, well, yeah, when I believe that I'm not really that smart and I'm in a staff meeting, I start talking and then I pull it all back and I actually backpedal on everything I said and I kind of shrink into my seat. And people around me probably think, okay, she's not really that confident in what she's thinking or saying. And they're probably thinking, yeah, that's probably not the person I would promote, right? And when you're thinking, I'm just not that smart, you send an email and you're like, well, I should check it 5 times. I should check it 5 times because I'm not that smart. And in the checking it 5 times, you take out everything that was impactful because you're like, maybe that's controversial. Maybe that's not what they want to hear. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that sounds too brazen. You take out everything that would have made you a leader in that conversation, right? It's interesting how so often the things that we do that come from our fears take away the having of the thing that we think we want. And when we look at the behaviors that we manifest, when we're believing that belief, we realize that's sort of where we're sabotaging ourselves. And that's important to ask yourself, okay, well, who would I be without this belief? And all of this is based on the work of Byron Katie, by the way. She has some great books if you're interested in checking her out. And if we look at who we would be without that belief, kind of go like, and usually you're kind of like, kind of cool. Sometimes you're like, I'd be kind of badass. I would be a thought leader. I would be somebody that other people come to for advice on this. I might even write a book on this because I actually know this stuff really well. I just pretend like I don't because I don't want to be seen as too pushy or too strong or too bold or too powerful. Who would I be without this belief that I'm not smart? If I just didn't have that tinkering around in my head, I would dress differently. I would show up to work differently. I would speak to my boss about ideas I have. I would come forward and put myself up for promotions when the opportunity arises. I would speak as the thought leader that I know I can be, and I would actually prepare myself pretty beautifully for that promotion, for that powerful position that I want. When you imagine, even just give yourself the space to imagine who you would be without that fearful belief governing your existence, you open up a whole new timeline. You open up a whole new life possibility. And then you start to say, okay, well, what would I do if I believed the opposite belief? So I am smart. If I believed I am smart, I would X, Y, Z. Start making a list of behaviors, actions you would take, thoughts you would think, and then start doing those, acting as if you believe that different belief. When you change your belief system, which is how you change your identity, you change your whole reality. So it's really just about imagining a new future for yourself where your fearful mind isn't running the show and then doing the work to start to act like the version of you who doesn't have those fears holding them back. And then you start to receive the results and you're like, oh, wow, this actually kind of works. And you start to believe more and more that new belief. I am smart. I am smart. If you don't believe it right now, the opposite of your fearful belief, just pretend like you do. Just act like the version of you that does. And eventually you'll get to the other side. You'll start creating a different reality that feels so good to you.
That was such a great prescription for anyone looking to shift their identity and broken down in such tangible pieces. I really appreciate you walking us through that, Katie. And I loved hearing that from this point in my own journey, because like you and I have walked through this one-on-one before and I've been living it, and like I hear it and I'm like, okay, yeah, change my beliefs. But like once you get far enough, I can like retroactively now kind of look back in time and think about the beliefs that I used to hold as mine that I have since challenged and abandoned. And I can honestly say that has been so freeing. I think it is a lot of work. You have to first identify that you have the belief in the first place, decide what it looks like to live without that belief, but then practice stepping into that future version. And that's where you waffle, I think, a lot back and forth between like, okay, I'm going to do this and this is not in character with this old belief, but then you get triggered and you're pulled back. And I think it's really cool to hear you talk about it in that way, but it does make me question, especially in your own journey post, now having Elle with you and being in what is arguably, in my perspective, the hardest part of motherhood, which is those first 3 to 4 months where, it's just, sometimes I think you can feel so alone, those late nights up with Elle and feedings and not feeling like yourself quite yet and not knowing what you're doing. And there's so many emotions and feelings and hormones involved in those first months. But I'm curious, were there moments that you noticed old versions of yourself getting triggered along the way? Or how did you handle and navigate those moments if they occurred?
Totally noticed myself getting triggered. Yes. It's interesting because women go through a transition. There's 3 spiritual phases of being a woman: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And it's not like we graduate from one to the next. We are constantly moving between them. But going from having no children to having a child really does move you pretty powerfully from maiden to mother. And the maiden phase is about curiosity, self-focus, trying things out, creating an identity. And the mother phase is about really devoting yourself to the creations that you already have. It's really different. So maiden for me was like reinventing myself. I reinvented myself a couple different times in my life and would follow my curiosity and just go with it. And I would have all the time to devote to my curiosity. Like, I'm interested in this, I'm going to go to a retreat on it. I'm interested in this, I'm going to teach about it. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to do a training. And then the mother is like, no, I need to nurture this creation that I have. Elle has become my biggest focus. When she was first born, I put my forehead against hers at one point and she just stayed there for a long time. And it's like, we both were just like breathing together. I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I felt like she said to me, make me your number one priority. I just got that message. And whether it came from me or came from her, it was just this feeling of like, oh, yeah, I haven't been doing that 100%. I'm used to being my own number one priority, and shifting to her being my number one priority. The maiden version of me, who's like used to having all my time as myself, is like, what do you mean? Oh, we're curious about this. I want to read a whole book on it. It's like, I don't have time to read a chapter, let alone also a book. It's like, what do you mean? I want to, hold 3 retreats this year. It's like, you're going to have time to hold 1 retreat this year. There's been this part of me that loves to keep expanding, creating, achieving, kind of like conquering new lands. I'm ambitious. My nature is to always want to be growing. And there's been sort of this push-pull of like, hey, you are growing in different ways right now, but you're going to maybe be doing less. You're going to be offering less. You're going to be putting less time and energy into your career and more into your home. And that's a choice. You don't have to do that. If I wanted to, we could talk about getting a nanny and me being able to have as much time in my career as I did before. But that wasn't the choice I wanted to make. That wasn't what I wanted for motherhood. I really wanted to be fully present with her. And I've told Billy, I'm like, I want to be like 80% stay-at-home mom, 20% working. But the time that I am working, I want it to be really impactful. And so it's really challenged me to find ways to deliver my message more broadly. And I've been looking more into, rather than just working with my one-on-one clients, finding ways to speak more broadly and to offer workshops and retreats out there and to promote them to farther reaches using, ads to target people in other countries, to really do my best to find the way to cast the biggest net so that when I am working, I have the opportunity to reach as many people as possible. And I love this podcast for that reason too, that you're listening right now. There's a good chance we don't know each other. There's a good chance you've never, been to Happy Camp or seen my work or worked with me. And I just it's helped me provide clarity, and it's helped me have clarity in my life of what I want. And what I want is to really teach as broadly as possible, to as many people as possible, to help as many people as I can claim their own lives, empower themselves to create the future that they want, get the keys to their own kingdom. My goal with coaching, with teaching, is never to have somebody be like a lifetime client. It's like, no, learn and go, use it. Get the keys to your kingdom, go. And I want to give those to as many people as possible. So it's really helped me in motherhood find ways to be effective, more effective with less time. And that's a challenging needle to thread, but I'm grateful that I have this challenge because it's pushing me to really encompass, or it's pushing me to really embody my dharma and my destiny and everything I'm here to do in this time, to like get serious about how I can do everything I want to do with less time, and then also be fully present for my daughter when I'm with her, because I don't want to miss anything. And I really love being a mostly stay-at-home mom. I just have to figure out how to balance everything into how to let that mother side of me, who pays really close attention to her creations and nurtures her creations, let her lead, and to nurture everything I already have and my business and my work, rather than constantly trying to create more and to achieve more and to externally validate. It's pushing me to go inward and to remember everything is here that I need. I don't need anything else. I just need to really pay attention and take care of what's already here.
One question, and just listening to you kind of go deep into that experience for you, why do identity shifts often feel destabilizing before they feel empowering?
Oh my gosh. Great question. Because our identity is formed based on how we're used to feeling about ourselves, whether we like it or not. If you're used to feeling like everything works out for other people and I just never quite get what I want, and then all of a sudden you meet some great partner and you have this like great relationship and you're so happy, it's kind of destabilizing at first. You're like, wait, I have what I want. I'm not used to having what I want. Your brain doesn't know what to do with the new information. Whether we like it or not, we're used to the emotions that we're most accustomed to feeling. So if we feel annoyed all the time and frustrated and like and resentful, even though we don't like feeling those feelings, our body is used to that chemical composition of those feelings. And that's where our identity lives. And then as circumstances change, we start to feel different and it feels a little scary. Our nervous system doesn't have a basis for that. So as you change, whether it's because you've decided to change your belief systems and you're going to try on something different, you're going to act a little different, you're going to think a little different, or your circumstances change, all of a sudden your boss is like, here's the promotion. You're like, I wasn't expecting that. Or your life changes. You decide to stay home instead of being at work and your identity shifts. You're like, whoa, I'm used to feeling good about myself because my boss said great job on this, or because I hit my mark for my quota for sales, and now I don't have any of those. Like, how do I feel good about myself? I'm supposed to feel good about myself because I was just really present, or, all of a sudden you're not used to making an identity from the feelings that are available to you. And it will feel weird because you live your body has a nervous system that's job is to make sure you feel safe. And your nervous system won't have a solid footing in that new identity for a while. It just feels kind of like walking on ice. A little like, can I step here? Is that okay? Ooh, that one kind of took my feet out from under me. And to anybody dealing with that right now, where you're just not totally locked in on this identity, kudos to you, and just keep going. Just keep going. Be willing for it to be uncomfortable. And it gets a little less uncomfortable every day. Every time you make a choice from your future self's thinking rather than your current self's thinking, every time you do that, you become more and more like that version of you. And then you become more embodied in the characteristics of the future version of you who already has what they want. It feels wonky 100% of the time in the beginning. And then
and
80%.
Sometimes deeply uncomfortable.
Yes,
deeply uncomfortable.
You might cry. You might get angry. What are some of the uncomfortable feelings that you felt in transformation, Shan?
Oh, well, I think just exposed in some ways too. Like I was making choices not to do things I would have typically done because I was embarrassed about what something would mean, and not doing that thing made me feel really vulnerable and exposed and seen in a way I hadn't been comfortable being seen before. Mm-hmm. And I think that was incredibly uncomfortable. And I think it also, what starts to happen is you realize in some cases you outgrow relationships too. And I think that often is hopefully an easy transition, but often it requires a really difficult conversation in some cases. And I think that's another really hard part of this, but it's a choice, right? And you can choose to interact and be in that identity that kept you stuck, or you can choose this new identity and come at that conversation or those moments of growth from a place of kindness and love, not just for yourself, but for the other person, right? And think about how your future self would be proud of you navigating that. Mm-hmm. And I think when you do that consciously, it can be really challenging, but so freeing and so rewarding on the other side.
Yes, completely. And as you're talking, it reminds me that none of these are accidents. Like everything that's challenging as you're changing isn't an accident. It's not supposed to be happening. The challenges that you face while you're changing are the gifts from the universe to help you level up. Because every time you go through something hard and you choose the light, you choose to move towards the light, you become more yourself, more fully yourself. Every time you choose from love of yourself, loving yourself enough to fight for that future version of you, to try on those beliefs that actually feel good when you believe them. Every time you move from that place, you become more. You become more like the creator, more fully embodied in your love. Every time you move from fear, every time you let the old program create the new story, you're stepping farther and farther away from the version of you that you wish to become. And you're not doing yourself any favors. That's the opposite of self-love. And so even though it might seem easy to just kind of keep doing things as you've always done them, it's harder in the long run, because you're creating more distance between you and your most authentic self. Your most authentic self is your most golden self, your most godlike self, your most enlightened self, your most self-loving, free, joyful you. Every lesson in your path, everything that's hard, is just helping you get closer to that. Because you have to decide every time something comes up, how am I going to respond to this? The way I always have, or choosing the light? Choosing to go towards what I really want, choosing to maybe have the hard conversation to create more energetic space in your life, to say maybe to someone, I don't have the capacity for this relationship anymore. It doesn't work for me anymore, so that you can be the version of you that you really want to be in your life, rather than just sort of meeting other people's needs and staying small so that other people feel good. If you're experiencing something challenging right now, ask yourself, what might this be trying to teach me? What am I being asked to learn right now? It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow. And as you grow, that wisdom you collect, that's your real wealth. That wisdom is what keeps you not stepping in that same pothole in the future. That wisdom is what creates the foundation for you to graduate to the next lesson. And as I said in the beginning, divine timing means you get what you want. Not just when you want it, when you've become the person who's ready to receive it. And so if you take the opportunity to learn and to grow, you put yourself on the path to having more of what you want as well. These lessons aren't accidents, they're gifts.
Katie, if someone takes one thing from our conversation today, what do you hope it is?
If you take one thing from this conversation, I hope you remember that you are the creator of your reality. You create your future. You create your life with the divine. And the way that you're doing that consciously is by your belief system about who you are, about what you deserve, about what's possible for you. And if you have beliefs there that are holding you back from having what you want, question them, because you deserve everything you want. And sitting in this place where I feel so fully like I really have everything I asked for and everything I want, and I feel so grateful. I am so grateful to my past self for questioning all the beliefs that stood in my way that made me feel like I couldn't have this. Beliefs like, you're damaged, you can't have a healthy relationship, or it's too late, you can't have a family, or you'll never be able to live in Tahoe. That's a challenging thing to figure out. How will you be able to do that? Everything in my life has come together beautifully, in part because of what God and the universe has gifted me, and in part because of the ways that I've chosen to change my belief system to believe that I'm worthy of everything I want and can have everything I want, and then choosing to live as that version of me who believes those things. Just remember, you can have what you want. You just have to be willing to question your belief system so that you can create the reality and the identity that's going to get you everything you really deserve.
Well, I can't think of a better way to sign off today's conversation, Katie. Thank you for that really powerful reminder, both for me and our listeners today. It's been so much fun catching up with you and hearing about all that's changed for you. And I'm so grateful for you sharing not just your experience, but your wisdom and words of advice for any listener out there who feels stuck or facing a big change or just wants more for herself in her life. I really hope you take Katie's words to heart, and thank you so much for joining us today, Katie. I love these conversations together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chandler. I love them too. I'm so grateful to you for this opportunity, and thank you to everyone who's been listening. I hope to stay in touch with you, and just grateful for this. Thank you, Chandler.
Well, thank you, Katie. The feeling's mutual. And Katie, before we jump, I think you are going to announce the next Happy Camp location in the next couple weeks, correct?
Yes. I'm going to let the listeners in on a little secret now. We are going to Sardinia, Italy. I am so excited. September 5th through 12th. It's a week-long retreat. We've never had a week-long happy camp. This is going to be the most luscious one yet. We're staying in a private villa with a chef, steps from the beach. We are going to go deep into yoga, meditation, mindset coaching, beach meditations, and you're going to leave as the most happy, joyful, powerful version of you who knows how to manifest and will create like a whole new vision for this next chapter of your life, which so many people are craving right now. This year, the year of the snake, is the beginning of a whole new 9-year cycle of creation. And so we're going to get very intentional about what it is you want to create, how you can move through your blocks, how you can make that happen in your reality, and you're going to leave as an upgraded version of you. So I hope it's very limited space. So we're opening the waitlist. If you are interested in coming, join the waitlist. And then as soon as spots are open, you'll get an email and you can book one of those spots. It's going to be, I think, the best happy camp yet. I'm so excited.
I mean, hard to beat Sardinia, Italy.
I know.
Thank you for sharing, Katie. You guys heard it here first. Mark your calendars for September of 2026. You can visit Katie's website for more. We'll link it in the resources. But thank you to everyone for joining us today. If you enjoyed our conversation, please share it with friends and don't forget to subscribe. You can also visit healingheroespodcast.com to get resources, meet the heroes, and share your ideas for future episodes. Thanks for listening, everyone. And until next time, remember, be curious, be courageous, and be kind to yourself. You've got this.